You're listening to White Noise with your host, Drip, 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 Drip.
Live. White Noise, episode 13, I believe.
Is it? Wow.
I believe so, yeah.
13 is crazy.
Crazy. But
I'm saying, think about how many things you've done 13 times in a row.
oh, I thought you were gonna say think about how you got here. I'm like, we kind of did that a little bit with your anniversary. I'm like
we can't have that conversation right now, but think how many things you've done 13 times in a row. We ain't even done this 13 times.
That's the thing, we haven't. Yeah.
But still, 13 times is a lot of times to be doing some shit.
It is. Again, that's why it's lucky 13, right?
Is it?
It's some unlucky 13.
Some hotels don't have a 13th floor. Well, they don't have something.
So it is unlucky 13, right? Because the whole Friday the 13th.
It's 13 is an unlucky number, but I think over the years people say, "Oh, that's my lucky number, number 13," but it's not really lucky at all. I mean, that's what they say anyway.
Think about when you churn 13.
How about that? What an awkward stage that was. 13. What's
13,
that?
That was 2008.
That's 2008.
Yeah.
My son was 2 years old.
That might have. Oh no! For the throwback, that might have been 07. That throwback Thursday I posted this week, but
here you go. Drip always posting some. What did he say? That's when you was Lil Bangin' and Lil Rock.
Bangin'. That was all right. That was 2011. That either was 2011 or 2012. That picture.
Young Drip with the shave. That's 10 years. That's over 10 years ago.
I had that haircut for a long time. That was the primary go-to.
Why did you start? What made you?
It out?
Yeah.
Because I didn't want to look like that anymore.
I didn't want to look like I was the white guy that sold drugs. Is that the look? Is that the aesthetic? Is that
No, I think I actually wanted to care about my appearance. I had saw
You at the time you're saying
when I was growing my hair out, yeah.
Gotcha.
It coincided with me moving here, which was 2013 in a way. So 13 again.
So this was before growing the hair out.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's a DC shirt and a DC hoodie.
And a DC varsity hoodie jacket. Yeah. I still have that jacket and I still have that shirt. Yeah.
Were you rocking DC shoes?
I probably had my diamond turfs on in that picture or something.
Yeah, I don't know nothing about that shit.
I might have had my DC shoes at that time too. Who knows? But yeah, that was real skater fashion a little bit at that time. But yeah, we talked about this a few weeks ago when we talked about hats. You figure out fashion as you get older and all that. You have to start to look at influences and how you want to be presented.
Still trying to figure it out. But I think as you get older and as you can start to afford certain things, or if you wanted things, you get to. Hopefully, I think you should always be working on yourself, and one thing you need to do is make sure you're representing how you feel and expressing yourself through.
Which is why we have this merchandise.
Look,
we need a merchant. We need a member. We need a piece of merchandise for the person we'll be talking about today.
Oh, you mean
I don't want to tell the merch man how to do his job, but I also think there's some legal consequences if we were to.
This shot would be crazy though. But I'm getting
that's definitely on the cover. That's why I sent it by itself because
that's hard. That shit is hard. Anyway,
well, we were supposed to do this episode a while back. Again, this is White Noise. I said this week. I'm not good with the intro.
White Noise, episode 13. Carmelo Hayes. I haven't thought of a witty.
I know the clever. He is the A champ. I don't want to go as boring as that. We'll figure something out over the course of this.
The A champ.
We'll figure something out. But again, I am Drip, as always, your host, joined by producer khal, co-host, founder of BRP. Like I said, I had wanted to do this episode a while back. It's a good thing we waited off. And I was already kind of planning it to be this week's episode early Tuesday before what happened was the thing. Because last week I come up with a bunch of topics. I dropped a teaser for that on my Twitter at Davis aka Drip. teasing the kind of next few episodes that I already have kind of sketched up, but some stuff can think. We just wrapped up Movies, Film, Cinema. All 3 of those parts are now on YouTube.
That's crazy.
So go ahead and check that out.
That's legit like almost 8 hours of
well, I mean, that's nothing for me, but
it's facts. That's just a regular episode of BVD Pod, but no, that's
2 episodes of BVD Pod.
It's a good amount of content to have up on the YouTube, so check it out if you haven't already. But
I want to do kind of a main spotlight on Carmelo Hayes, and for a while, kind of how we had done with Jay White, my hate for Cody Rhodes, Adam Cole,
right?
Ricky Starks, basically kind of the early episodes of White Noise, and then
back when we were talking about wrestling.
But then the merch man was like, you can talk about stuff that's not wrestling. I'm like, I know, I like talking wrestling stuff too. So we'll kind of get back to some wrestling for a little bit, and again, switch it off, talk some movies. You never know. Might talk movies at the Black Wrestling Podcast Club. A certain film or series of films.
I got to figure out what motions are YouTube monetization friendly.
But
piece of the soup.
But yeah, so I mean, again, it also coincided with the 1-year anniversary of NXT 2.0, which kind of is the reason why this man is the star he is.
Well, what's funny, because I remember that year, the first year you voted on the BRP 50, and you wanted to take this man. You were a prognosticator. Your prognostication was spot on, but you were literally like you were a couple years early.
So
how high he actually needed to be, right?
Well, no, the thing was, we're talking about BRP 2020, BRP 50, 2020, 2021. He had gotten signed.
It was like the tail end of that year, right?
Yeah, right in the midst of that pandemic, because he only had like 10 eligible matches
at that time,
and he had dropped the titles that he had held for a long period of time.
It may have been a couple of months before the end of that time, but it was like right at the end.
But then when he debuted on TV, it was already past the cutoff, and he had a match with Kushida for the Cruiserweight title, in which he was Kushida's open challenge. And he had the solo match against Adam Cole, where he did the ruthless aggression, same energy, slapped the shit out of Adam Cole.
And Drip said, "Put him up at number 5, put him up at number 2, or whatever."
I had him at 48 on my list because I was projecting what he would become. And Matt said, "I get it, Drip. I understand. I see the vision too," because Matt was a big Christian Casanova fan,
of course, yeah.
But he's like, but 48, him having a spot's just ridiculous because he did nothing in a year. It
was too early.
And when it was like he was one of the people that was really affected by COVID, and he wasn't put on TV right away. In terms of the May to May, so
it took a bit, yeah.
But I'm like 48. It's like, and at that time too, again, we were counting people had better years because of COVID that really shouldn't have.
Right.
But I'm like 48. I mean, that's just not like it's 2 spots. It's 3 spots in a way.
At a certain point, I mean,
the integrity of the list, I get it.
You got who else would have been in that spot? I mean, it's not like it's an easy fight for some of those spots. So,
but then he jumped up all the way to 6 this year, so we can't complain.
Look at that.
And he did that again by like being this mainstay of 2.0, when everyone kind of knows how I feel about, or felt, RIP, about 2.0.
Are you back? Are you officially NXT again?
No, because they have a few stars already. I mean, they legit deaded NXT UK just to bring those people over.
Right.
The Tyler Bates, the Jordan Devlins, aka JD McDonough's, Ilya Dragunov. Apparently, he showed up at the tapings this week, and he was injured. And so they were bringing their workhorse guys and women over to counteract let's make these athletes wrestlers.
The new ones
that was going on in 2.0. And 2.0 did have stars again like Braun Breaker, the Creed brothers of Diamond Mine. They had a few shiny originals that they created that could go already. NXT. Well, that's the thing. Mandy Rose was someone who could wrestle WWE style, not NXT style.
Right.
And I mean NXT style in terms of black and gold, indie work rate put on the main stage. Carmelo Hayes was indie work rate put on the main stage. He would have, I think, been a star on black and gold regardless. But if you put up the image I have of him and Shawn Michaels, and all these other accomplishments he had early on. So again, like I said, top image in the left, it's him and Kushida. They have a great match. Again, this is where you know, like, oh, this guy has something if you've never seen him before. Bottom left, him and Adam Cole, like I just talked about. He holds his own in this match with Adam Cole, who big star in NXT, former champ, longest reigning champ. And then wins the Breakout Star tournament where he beat Josh Briggs, Duke Hudson, and Odyssey Jones. Remember Odyssey Jones? Apparently he's injured. He got injured at the start of the year.
No, I have no idea.
Yeah, because he kind of just came and went, but it's he had an injury that kind of derailed his whole year. He wins the Breakout Star tournament, and he's kind of been this generic baby face in a way. He was this, you know, you could see the star potential in a bit. He's paired up with Trick Williams as NXT is transitioning from black and gold to then 2.0. He cashes in on Mr. 52 with this contract, wins the North American title, and becomes the Shawn Michaels IC champ of the 90s. This heel guy who's going to have the best match, going to call out all these guys. And you could clearly tell that this was a pet project of Shawn Michaels. He saw a lot of himself in Carmelo Hayes with this similar look where they're not the tallest guy. They're not the shortest guy. They got a good body. They got great athleticism. The character's there where he's a heartthrob. He's a prick. But he can back it up. You can, well, that's the, put up the other image I have of the other comparisons.
That one wasn't, it didn't load. So
okay.
Keep going.
But yeah, no, in a way he is, again, this modern day sexy boy. This, again, he's got Trick Williams as his Diesel. And Trick Williams is one of these athletes that they're trying to make into a wrestler. And he can kind of go on the mic. I think I once tweeted that Trick Williams was great at the mic, but also worse on the mic. He has real like touch and go moments of like the stuff he says. It either hits or it misses, and it misses by like a lot.
Right. He's no Kevin Nash, but he's almost there.
Yeah, and in the ring, again, he can do some stuff. It's like you're never really gonna like, oh, I can't wait to watch this Trick Williams match.
Trick Williams match go hard, yeah.
And yeah, unless you're attracted to the man, like some women are, which I don't blame him. Again,
do you think?
Men were watching Mandy Rose matches just to be like, you know, Mandy Rose.
Mandolin Rose, man. She's a...
But they do have like a good dynamic, particularly again these barbershop moments. What have you thought of their barbershop segments and how that kind of modernizes wrestling in a way and again speaks to the culture aspect because it's
I think it's, I will say, like, there's no place in Black culture that's both as sacred and as misunderstood by the rest of culture than the barbershop. You know, the barbershop episode of Atlanta is one of my favorite episodes of Atlanta, but there's a lot of people who I know. See, that's crazy. I love that episode. But there's people that have never been in. They've never been in that experience where, like, maybe your barber has to go pick up some lumber, or you know, maybe they want to sell you some cable.
They're going to the barbershops that are definitely on the shop with LeBron James. They're on the uninterrupted barbershop universe where like they're the stars. They got a bunch of regular folk.
It's you would think that it would be like there was a number of ways where a barbershop in a WWE environment could have went down. Again,
you mean Bruce Beefcakes?
Bruce Beefcake had a whole series where, ironically enough, Shawn Michaels, you know, became, you know, the guy he became.
Well, Shawn Michaels was supposed to have what, the Heartbreak Hotel show?
Yeah, the Heartbreak Hotel. That was what they were trying to. Again, anything with a heart that worked with him, they were trying to push. But no, I think just like you said with the LeBron James series being set in a barbershop, I think it's an easy way to, if people are paying attention to what happens in the barbershop and the conversations that go down, I think it's a good place for someone like Carmelo to be able to, get because the last time I saw it, it was those two, but they had a crew of like 7 or 8 guys in there.
Yeah, I think there's been there's been a few women in some too. There's I think been like 4 or 5 segments. It's kind of been a running thing where like after he's had a successful string of title defenses, he's back in the shop and they chop it up, and it's the whole again like, man, these guys can't beat me, they can't touch me. So how these athletes will come on the shop and talk about when I'm on the field, I'm in my zone, I'm this and all that. And right. Carmelo Hayes in a way is supposed to be an athlete in NXT. Like he's supposed to be the MVP of this generation. Like right. I'm the hottest free agent, I'm balling. It just modernized, and every generation kind of needs.
I dress better, my clothes better, my shoes better. My
he does. I mean, in the bottom right, he has the Santa Claus outfit. I guess he was doing again sexy Santa, but that's the Heartbreak Kid. That's the Shawn Michaels. Like, hey, what really gets you over is like put on the overalls and the Santa hat, but take the one strap off, show a little peck. Like
show a little peck. That was the style, but show a little peck.
Yeah. Fun. But then it's the thing too, like but then I'm gonna put you in this skit with all these women, and you're in a hot tub, you're on the town, you got champagne. They brought Ollie J, who was definitely just like an Instagram model who they say is a singer. And they brought her, and again, there was that one of those segments of the shop. Trick Williams was like, so how was the date with Ollie J? And Carmelo's like, hey, we don't talk about that here. We don't talk about that here. Like,
and then she started rapping.
But that's the thing. It's like they've gone out of their way to make this man a star, not in a negative way, because he has the skills to back it up on the mic and in the ring. And one of the things I've said over the course of the last year was he gives me very Seth Rollins vibes, where his matches on TV, they'll always be good, and then when it's the big show, they'll be great.
Mm-hmm. Like, that's a good comparison. It's a real good.
That's why they built up that, even though it was just in one night, we were all anticipating him versus Ricochet. Because huh?
You used to make a sale?
No, that's the I gotta take a pill alarm.
Oh, perked up.
Said I'm basically, yeah, basically. But they were like Carmelo Hayes versus Ricochet. That's a match that's again sells itself in one night. Like if they were to announce Ricochet, Seth Rollins for Monday, we'd all get hyped. Like, yeah, they announced, but again, he has a regular match with Giovanni Vinci on NXT Tuesday, and that match delivers. Again, it delivers on TV, delivers on the big shows. He's to me, he's not that guy who like phones it in. Like again, Seth Rollins on a Monday is really good. He's the best worker on that night. It's either him or Kevin Owens. But then Seth Rollins at Clash of the Castle, you're getting the Seth Rollins you pay to see.
Word.
Like, and Carmelo Hayes really has that potential. And also the comparison where like Carmelo Hayes is so much better as a heel. He could play face eventually.
Word.
But his strength will be at playing the heel. Same thing for Seth Rollins. Like we got tired of, I think you in particular, right, Khal, of ultimate babyface Seth Rollins, who had to overcome the odds. And
I hate that. I hate it after a while, especially for him.
Yeah. It just was like you were so much better as this whiny heel again, who would just stomp on dudes and cheat to win. And again, think about these heels today, and there are guys like The Miz who are traditional old school heels. MJF is similar, not just because the two are often compared, but the heels that can actually wrestle to back it up, but they'll still cheat to win. Again, Carmelo Hayes, Fam said it correctly, that when not undermine that match, but what kind of like was like he beats Ricochet for roll up, but a heel will still use whatever tactic it takes to win, and Carmelo Hayes has done that a few times.
Right.
It's not that his finisher is weak, even though he does have that like leg drop off the top rope. I think when the A show was on with us, we all were kind of like, yeah, he needs to change that finisher. He's a star, but they need to come up with a better move for him. And his 5 moves of doom are pretty solid. He does the miniature version of that. He does the springboard clothesline. He does the leaping code breaker, which is impressive.
Oh, geez. Yeah, he be jumping.
Yeah, and that's why we had this discussion on Thursday about, is he a flippy guy? He isn't, but he can fly.
Is he a flippy guy? No, he be jumping. Jumping. He just that's not his whole move set. He's not doing moonsaults off the top or over the top rope to fly on the 15 guys like some of these other flippy guys are. But again, I think part of it is because like he's got a little more. He's built. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
Well, like,
he doesn't have a body where you're just like a flippy guy. He can do a little more with it.
well, I mean, I saw him in person at Wally Mania again. I'm like, holy shit! But then I'm like, oh, he's only a little bit taller than me, so I'm like, okay, like,
right. He could. I mean, I guess he's not the WWE's answer to Jonathan Gresham, but I mean,
well, he's taller than Jonathan Gresham. I mean, I was taller than Jonathan Gresham.
He's taller than Jonathan Gresham.
I walked right by him, and I'm like this.
I was just saying more in terms of like,
a wrestler, an alternative compared to the flippy generation.
But they don't seem to care about him for any title, so I don't think that makes a difference anyway.
Well, here's the thing about, again, him at Wally Mania, where he had the champion shirt he was wearing, but he famously took a picture with Ricky Starks, Chris Bay, and Daniel Garcia, and you kind of think of those guys. Daniel Garcia, not as much, but in the same class of young up-and-comers.
Right.
And similar in their skill sets, their style, their charisma.
You wouldn't consider Garcia an up-and-comer?
No, I just mean in terms of the, like, Carmelo Hayes and Ricky Starks could wrestle very similar. Mm-hmm. Chris Bay and Carmelo Hayes can wrestle very similar. Dan Garcia and Carmelo Hayes, and not as much the same thing about Daniel Garcia with those other guys. And same thing with him and the charisma. Mm-hmm. We see it in these offline moments with Daniel Garcia where it seems like he's that guy, but on screen it's the exact opposite. Again, we see him with the Benny the Butcher shirts and this and that, but we don't know if Daniel Garcia is this guy as the character. Like, I
would hope so.
It would give you something to root for, right?
But I'd also be disappointed if like that wasn't real. Like if he wasn't really fucking with Griselda's, but rocking like a Buffalo Kid, because he was wearing a number of shirts. It wasn't just the 1 week.
Yeah,
there was some.
That's why they went and got out when they brought out West Side Gun. If you want to put that image I have of Carmelo Hayes with West Side Gun, and everything, it's mixed in with a bunch of that's the other one.
This one, no. This one,
no.
Where is that one?
That's not in there.
I don't know if that one's in here. Hold up. Boo, 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 boo. Yeah, that was not. Hold up.
Let's say. Sorry, folks. We are having. This is why also doing images is. Oh, I sent it. Yeah.
No, you sent it. The thing is I loaded.
Oh, yeah.
I tried to do some pre-production and shit wouldn't pre-produce. I threw all the images in there. But why did you get in there? See, this shit don't make no sense. Boom.
This one, and you see like. In this way, too, he recreates the Kobe Bryant photo of him in the jacket with the title.
Right.
He's brought back Letterman jackets, which I'm always a fan of. We need varsity jackets, Letterman jackets in our lives. Mm-hmm. He has the unified Melo beanie. That's after he beat Roddy Strong and was the cruiserweight champion. But then they just folded that into the North American title again, so he's making his own merch. Again, New Year's Eve, that was an early match of the year contender, and that's how they started off the year with him and Roderick Strong.
Word.
Again, him and Trick Williams, that was for the Halloween episode, but doing, again, like kind of a Bad Boys vibe, and then West Side Gun, fourth rope in the corner.
Boop, 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 boop. I had to find this photo.
This is again, I saw all four of these guys out while they had all walked past me at some point and were within the vicinity, and I'm just like, holy shit.
That's crazy. NXT, ROH, Impact, and AEW in the same. That's crazy. Anyway, Carmelo Hayes. What's his stat? He went from he put on he swagged out. He been in the barbershop. He's got both the titles.
He went on this incredible run 3 months in. Like he established himself as that guy early on. Same night he wins the title from Roderick Strong, Braun Breaker beats Tommaso Ciampa for the NXT title. And it was a very WrestleMania 21 moment where, and I posted this too, where like Batista and John Cena were crowned on the same night. These two guys were crowned on the same night. As NXT 2.0 is shying away from its legacy of black and gold and forming into a new version that probably thought was going to last a lot longer than it did until a whole bunch of Vince McMahon upheaval and the way the future of the company just changed in a matter of a month and a half. Carmelo Hayes was established as this like king of the mid card, like a Shawn Michaels was in the early 90s, until I imagine Shawn Michaels was going to have, get your run at the top soon. But I got to show everyone that you are this workhorse that can get the best match out of anyone and everyone every week, that you got this style. He loses the North American title at Stand Deliver in Dallas, that ladder match. But he gets it back against Cameron Grimes in your house. And he does it with the black and blood vibe. He shows up. If you want to put that image of him and all the entrances. So he's also like the king of the modern entrance. Like,
right.
Again, this is where he kind of compares to Seth Rollins, and Seth Rollins having kind of the best wrestling gear. Like, and he told Roderick Strong, I will put you on a t-shirt. And then he shows up with the Rip Roddy Strong from this date to this date. And then he shows up with the Pete Dunne purple X instead of the red X. He purple X Pete Dunne, and then sent Pete Dunne to SmackDown, and he became Butch. And then he shows up in like this kind of mob vibe with the fucking fur coat and the red bandana on his leg and the blood emoji on his knee pad. Trick Williams got a cane. And again, he's back in blood. And then he shows up with, when he lost the title, he had the what a championship needs at Spring Break. Because again, he was the A champ. He established that, even though he was the North American champion, he didn't want that moniker of workhorse and work rate champ. The North American title is the IC title of NXT.
Right.
And this is maybe why it flips while Braun Breaker is the main champ. In some people's eyes, our own Mimi, he's boring, which I can see. It's not that he can't go. The character's just, again, the unstoppable babyface who has to overcome. And then here at Great American Bash with the Dream Team vibe, he shows up with, he's the last guy. Again, we always play the Chicago Bulls introduction. And starting Carmelo. He's got the 3 on his knee pad for Allen Iverson. I mean, decked out in full America. And then the final one at Heat Wave, again, he has a trash can on fire with Gianni Vinci on his shirt. And there was a shirt in the trash. He's the king. He was made for wrestling Twitter as well.
Yes.
Everything he does in an instant, like, it works. It clicks.
It's good on wrestling Twitter too.
As a personality, yeah. Which is the whole how the Ricochet thing started. Where it's like, I'm calling out anyone.
Right.
Like, and then the whole everyone's saying they're next when I beat someone. I'm next for Melo. I'm next.
Good stuff.
But no, I mean he kills it with, again, the whole rest in piss, all my ops, and he does the fake bottle on the ground. Again, these, like, the entrances go crazy. The shirts, he plays it well. He's the most modern wrestler I think there is today.
110%. Indeed. I don't think there's any wrestler that understands nailing the theatrics as well as, nailing the in-ring. He's got a great balance of doing both.
That in terms, again, what's entertainment, what's sports, what's wrestling, what's all going to work. Again, what's fashion. Like,
right.
The fit he had when he called out before Ricochet came out was like he wore a snow jacket and joggers, but like the socks pulled up to the joggers, and like he's wearing, I think, a beanie, like, and this is all indoors, and he's got like the cool sunglasses. It's just like, but again, like anyone else, it would look like they're trying to. Right? For him, it's just all
right
natural. And I think that's why we're all. I can't think of anyone who like is that I've seen, at least on the timeline, that's like a Carmelo Hayes hater. How have you really felt about him in the last year since his rise has skyrocketed?
I think it's one of those things where I'm not surprised. Again, like you said earlier, the man is one of the better examples of what a modern pro wrestler is, and I think at a certain point, you got to give the beauty of NXT, which has always been the beauty of NXT that Triple H was doing, was giving these people the rock and letting them run with it. And I think someone like Carmelo Hayes being able to really express himself, because a lot of what you see in NXT is they're I don't want to say it's pandering, but like they are paying homage at a certain point to the people before them. But I think that the ability to add their own spin to it, or at the very least, if they have an idea about making a shirt or being able to do different things at whenever they wanted to at will. That's really the company believing in somebody. You know what I'm saying? So the fact that he's able to get over so quickly, I'm not surprised, because this era, my question though is just like, how much of this was Triple H? Because remember,
he signed him.
He signed him, but a lot of this stuff, especially over the last,
it's Shawn Michaels.
It's Shawn Michaels. It's 2.0, you know what I mean? So it's really interesting to see how I imagine it's kind of Shawn just being like, hey, like you said earlier, I see myself in this guy. Let me kind of try and let him let loose. But either way, whoever was the genius to say, let's give Carmelo Hayes whatever he wants to do, give him that time, because we know it's going to reap benefits, is the genius. Because it's at this point he's been champion, he's been great. He loses the title, I'm like, look, get him on the main roster. Let me see him on SmackDown. Let me see him on Raw. Put him on Raw right now. See what happens.
And that's the thing. So like, it's not easy to say he probably would have succeeded if it didn't turn into 2.0. Right. He did lose 2 matches to 2 big stars, but he won the Breakout Star tournament. And it kind of seemed like after that is when Triple H started to lose control of NXT to Vince.
Right.
But so it did seem like in a way Triple H should have had big plans for him. Like, so there's at least I think I have it right here where it shows like the matches he had. It was like, and Triple H could be weird in NXT where you lose right away just to gain momentum in the future. Yeah, he had about 6 matches on regular NXT Black and Gold, and he went 3-3. He lost to Kushida and Adam Cole, won against Josh Briggs, Duke Hudson, and Aussie Jones, and then lost to Santos Escobar before it turned into 2.0.
Wow.
And that was probably the thing where he just won the Breakout Star tournament, but Santos Escobar was on his way to challenging Swerve for the North American title. So like, we're not going to have you beat the number 1 contender when you are setting up to be a number 1 contender.
Jeez.
In that booking way. But it's, again, we had said it with Mr. 52, how he showed up and he's this guy who kills it on, and I'm just trying to pick on this guy, but like, you show up and you're king of where you've been at Evolve, what was he, PCW, everywhere else, and then you have to find your footing elsewhere again. Like, it took a while for Keith Lee to get success in NXT, and the whole thing was, we were like, has Triple H not seen Keith Lee? Did he just sign him because he had buzz? Like,
right.
It's been kind of weird.
If you want it to feel like that, it can definitely feel like that. You know what I'm saying? It's probably not the case, but you can always tell when a booker is not invested with somebody.
Or also, like, how do you react to this? Like, I remember, like, when and it's just, but it's kind of, I think how it's played out in a way of not me finally realizing, but like when Leo Rush showed up, he was only there for a little bit. Then he got called up to be Lashley's manager, and I remember when he was sent back down to win that cruiserweight title. I'm like, finally, Triple H is going to give this guy a proper run and do something with him. And in a way, Carmelo Hayes is like what Leo Rush is, but just like you said, he's bigger, he's taller. They kind of wrestle the same style, fast paced, athletic. Right. Leo Rush can do a little bit more flips, but again, he's not a Ricochet with flips. He's got that speed, he's got that, those athletic kicks. But again, same thing. The man of the hour is similar to Melo Don't Miss. And I think it just, again, look at the whole dream team vibe. They just know what to do. And I think, let's not forget, Shawn Michaels did work with Triple H in NXT Black and Gold, I think from 2019 until 2.0 started. So they at least probably had the same mindset. And Triple H is always like, I'm creating characters or allowing these people to be who they want to be in NXT.
Right.
And unfortunately, it just doesn't work when they get to the main roster. That's why a lot of Finn Balor's input, or Sasha Banks being the boss and having the Escalade when she came out in Brooklyn, or Bailey being I'm super friendly and all that. You see, like, a lot of these people were who they were. I mean, the Redacted Dream, he had all the big entrances. I mean, again, Matt Riddle was, they let Matt Riddle be the stoner guy, like he always was, and we always knew.
No, you're right about that. You're
Like
right.
I don't think they could have put Carmelo Hayes into the box of a character of like, again, like he's the soldier, or he's like they got everyone else in 2.0. That's why he stands out so much.
But I think to piggyback off, I think that's why NXT is important. You've got these people doing TV on a regular basis, but really it's who's ready, who's trying to fight for it, who's trying to take their opportunity and run with it. He's an example of somebody who's gifted in ring and was able to pay attention and went for it. It may or may not go through, but who knows? Maybe somebody will see your Instagram page and they want to do something. You know, it really depends. But either way, I think Carmelo Hayes is a great example of just letting people do what they can do to get over. Yeah. There's too many people who were hype about Carmelo Hayes over the last couple of weeks because of, you know, the build they've been able to do and the way they've been able to build him for a while. I'm always the one trying to figure out what's next, and I'm wondering, like, he had the titles, but he lost them. Well, he lost to he lost to the newest
Solo Sikoa. So that was the thing this week. The big like, oh, what really is next? And you always think about the future in that aspect, especially for someone who everyone is positioning as this star and as this person legit. The easy thing to say is like he's the one who's going to take that title off Braun Breaker. Like Braun Breaker's kind of being Braun Breaker, much like Carmelo Hayes, is being everyone he can be. Now it's like Carmelo Hayes is like, all right, I bought my time with that title. It's on the title. Like
I don't need this strap anymore.
Yeah, but he could do the whole I made that belt what it is. That's why it's a big deal when I lose that belt. Real heel shit again. Like,
but wait, if Braun Breaker, he's NXT World Champion. Mm-hmm. If he also gets the North American Championship, do they unify those?
I don't think you need a mid-card title, and they're not doing Braun Breaker, Solo Sikoa just to unify. They had to unify the Cruiserweight and North American because the Cruiserweight title was kind of dying in their eyes.
But my thing is,
because the whole Vince McMahon wanted bigger guys and less smaller guys when 2.0 was being launched.
But what I'm saying is did you look at the pictures from the press conference today?
Yeah.
Did you see, like,
when Sikoa and all of them with the gold?
Just the images of all that gold sitting there. Hold up, I'm pulling it up because there's one important. I didn't say anything on the timeline. I shared an image on the timeline, but I don't think I shared my thoughts on what the hell, what type of the type of amazingness is going on right now, being even a fix to Roman Reigns. Check this photo out. Roman Reigns has got 2 titles, right?
Mm-hmm.
Each Uso, Jay and Jimmy, they all got 2 titles. Solo's got the 1.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine Solo with the NXT World Championship and the North American.
Oh, I see what you're saying with that. I don't think so
optic wise, why not? The white guys ain't got nothing.
Well, yeah, because it's Sami Zayn.
But I would like to see that happen. It's probably not going to happen, but I would like to see, just so this image can be each one of the members of the bloodline that's not Paul Heyman or Sami Zayn is carrying 2 titles, one on each.
Yeah, we'll probably talk about this a little bit more on regular BRP and what that means. And I think in their eyes, I don't know if Shawn Michaels wants to let go of Carmelo Hayes right away again with not having won the NXT title.
Right.
I think Braun Breaker is the person again who we could see as a challenger to Roman Reigns in 3 months when he beats Logan Paul. He'll probably beat Karrion Kross.
Mm-hmm.
Cody Rhodes probably still won't be ready. So you bring up Braun Breaker and you rush it in a way where like the unstoppable champion NXT, and then Roman Reigns like you beat a bunch of up and comers. You think that's something to brag about? Like in the meantime, like someone has to hold it down in NXT, and if it's not, I'm a Tyler Bate fan. I don't think they're going to put it on Tyler Bate. I don't think Ilya Dragunov, UK champ. I mean, they probably could. It's again Triple H going to be back in charge in that black and gold style coming back.
Swerve is a swerve. I can hear that,
but also Carmelo Hayes is someone who has that Adam Cole championship reign in him. We're like, I'm going to hold this title and fend off all comers. Like I'm the champ for a reason.
Where, although Adam Cole is sitting in his shelf, so.
Yeah, I mean, he won't be. I'm not saying he's currently Adam Cole. I'm saying when Adam Cole was NXT champion, was killing everything in sight. And I mean, Adam Cole faced a lot of great talent. Carmelo Hayes, I think it worked out that black and gold transitioned to 2.0, where like he was able to beat the Johnny Garganos, the Pete Dunnes, the Roderick Strongs, real established workhorse indie guys that the internet loved, and then was able to beat the Nathan Frazier's, the Giovanni Vinci's, the Solo Sikoa's, the Grayson Waller's, the guys who will be seen in 3 to 4 years when like these matches are run back again,
right,
on Raw and SmackDown. Like,
damn,
right?
I mean, it's. I noticed it now where like a lot of my peers, because we're now like, I mean, for lack of a better term, the OGs in certain departments, like you kind of just have to fill that role. But to think that someone like Carmelo Hayes at some point he could be running back one of these NXT matches with someone on regular Monday
it's the
Night
match we
Raw.
just saw. Him and Solo Sikoa will have a feud
run it back
in the and it works out like that because again, like what made him and Ricochet, and that's what Worlds Collide was supposed to be, again, a dream match in this context of like the main rosters exist from a different universe in NXT's, even though it doesn't, because they were sending down talent like Apollo Crews and the Viking Raiders and Mandy Rose and all that bit, in the perfect sense of like no guy's gonna just challenge, think he's big enough to take on the top stars in their eyes. Like no one's bold enough to make the claim that like anyone and everyone, which is the Carmelo Hayes thing, like it doesn't matter who you are, where you are,
any and all comers.
And that's why he put up all those jerseys during that entrance. Again, he was like, look who I've beaten. I've beaten Gargano. I've beaten Strong. I've beaten Dunn. I've beaten Grayson Waller. I've beaten Cameron Grimes. I've beaten, again, the guys who were here and aren't, and the guys that are still here and don't know what to do.
Like, although I do like the idea of him jumping to AEW and going through not a tier like some of the smaller things. Like I like when I'm tired, honestly.
Yeah. Now we're about to wrap it up. But
I'm fucking tired, bro. I'm tired. No, I will. I think my main thought on Carmelo Hayes, honestly, is I don't know. I don't want to say now's the time, but it definitely feels like
for the call up.
If it may be too early. It may be too early for the call.
Yeah, I'm a little worrisome just given how they just brought back Johnny Gargano. Triple H is still reassorting like some of these guys he cared about in NXT that weren't cared for on the main roster, like the Ciampas, Pete Dunnes.
Do you think it's a situation where Carmelo's going to be cooking until like Rumble or like post WrestleMania, like springtime next year, we can start expecting him to be on the main roster?
Yeah, because I think with the shift back to black and gold, the first takeover they announce, I think it's him and Braun Breaker. He takes that title off of Braun Breaker. Braun Breaker goes up. That's how they used to do it. Remember, the champ loses that takeover,
and then
more or less goes right up, and this new champ kind of stays champ for a while. And Mania season, you kind of see a change, and I think Carmelo Hayes will be that change where after Mania, he drops the title to whoever would be a guy like that next again, Ilya Dragunov and Tyler Bate, or
they've not really started.
They haven't recruiting like how they used to in terms of like the next indie talent, because Triple H wasn't supposed to be recruiting talent like that. And
right. No, wait, I'm saying they've not started like Carmelo's not really sown any seeds of I'm coming for you, Braun Breaker, or anything, right?
No, and the thing was, he was part of that 2.0 team that faced Black and Gold at War Games.
Mm-hmm.
So there could be a thing where, like, a year ago, you and I were on the same side pushing out the old.
Right. And
now we're the future, and you're the only thing standing in my way. Only thing standing
like
in my way is you.
I like that. I
and
think
he could be like that again. Like, I made a title that didn't matter, even though it always mattered because that title was held by a lot of great guys. But again, he took the title off a guy who wasn't doing nothing with that title the first time, so it worked out.
I was going to say, I like the fact that you knew that it was going to be this real, and he was able to do the damn thing during the pandemic to where now we're like, yo, Carmelo Hayes, like he's legit the future of the WWE.
It was just in terms of what I saw early on, I liked, and we can all get wrong with that. Like, a lot of people got attached to Hook really early on.
Right.
And Hook's kind of just been doing Hook stuff, and it's not bad. I still like it, but it's like they're still scared to do anything more.
His biggest match is going to be a match with Action Bronson as his teammate. Like, that's the Hook, the viral sensation of Hook when Hook first came out. I didn't think that we would still be in the.
And we're almost coming up on a year of Hook, I believe. That's
what I'm saying. Like, it's not like he just got there. He's been around for a bit, but he also, like, they didn't overexpose him. He only wrestled on the one show. A lot of the time he would just come out, be silent, and then dip. But in between those times, it's not like they were giving him. Even now, I don't think he's got like a lot of like real talent that he's facing. He had that.
Well, they haven't. Oh yeah, no, he definitely still faces. What are they? Adobos?
The adobos, the abobos. Yeah, that's what it is. Though. Yeah. It's literally just those fucking those NPCs out there that.
He faces power, like the putties from Power Rangers. He just faces like these
red shirts or whatever.
They're worth 1 XP instead of 10. Like
the fuck. The abobos were crazy though, because usually you fought a dude that looked like the guy that you were playing in Double Dragon, but then you got this guy. He's got no shirt on. I don't know if he's really got boots or if he's just walking around barefoot.
That looks barefoot a little. No, the way they
barrel chested, mean bald head dude.
It's the Hulk, basically.
And he would just sit there and
you got bottoms on, man. That's it. You're barefoot and no shirt. You got bottoms.
I don't think he had a kick animation. It may have just all been punches. Big ass.
Hook isn't throwing kicks. He's just throwing punches and some slams. Like
that. To be this long into Hook and not having more prominent storylines with Hook is interesting.
Yeah, and it's not to compare him to Carmelo Hayes. I'm not trying to.
No, right, of course.
No, I'm saying like the initial reaction. No, initial reactions. The timeline, especially work wrestling tour, will jump on someone whether they're trash,
right,
and they're not, or they're great. And and I always hate the long-term booking. Let's play it out, this and that, because people will jump the gun regardless.
Right.
And thinking about Carmelo Hayes again, without really seeing him as Christian Casanova. It was the same thing with Ricky Starks. Math is talking this guy up. I'm like, okay, I'll see it when I see it. And then when I see it, I'm like, oh yeah, I see what you're talking about.
Right.
You're 100% correct.
Yeah, they were right.
So it was buying in early, and that stock turned out to be accurate. I bought into stock. I'm like, oh, so and so didn't turn out to be as good as I thought they were.
Damn, I just wish I can get those channels.
The what channels?
Anyway, this shit. Anyway, I don't know, man.
But no, Carmelo Hayes again. It's all on the rise. I don't see anything holding him back. Even if he goes up, I still think they do the smart thing. He'll face jobbers and
wait. So I mean, I guess that's the other thing. So
I think he stays. But if they were to call him up and do like the instant push, they're not gonna.
I mean, I don't know if that. I mean, they could. I don't know if I see an instant push, but I mean, because I'm just thinking that means September through December, he's just going to be like talking shit, like at the barbershop, just talking shit and having matches, building himself up to that Brown Breaker push for next year.
He's the mainstay of that show. Like he wasn't wrestling every week, but it'd be kind of more every other week. So it's again that Shawn Michaels appeal where like if he's not in the ring, what you like what you're seeing on the mic, and you need something
Yeah.
to tune into if you're like me, because he was the only thing I was tuning into.
Right.
With 2.0. Like, and I was adamant about I don't like this show. I don't like the cartoony characters. I don't like how they were like, let's get rid of the wrestlers and bring in these people who are 6 months in. I wasn't, or like there was a reason these people are still here because they aren't ready. And I still felt that way, even though I started to watch more in like kind of last 2 months, and I was just putting it on. And,
there are people that are there for a reason.
Yeah. But I would still just not like a lot of it. And he was the only thing I'd praise every time I picked him as my Black Wrestler week. I'm like, this guy's the best thing on this terrible show. And it's a tragedy what they did to my favorite wrestling show is that there used to be 8 Carmelo Hayeses, and now there's only 1 in the concept of like great wrestler.
My hope is just that when he does finally get to the main roster, that they're actually ready to just let him work. Because
I think they will.
They put, even with like the Quincy Elliott's of the world, like you can see that they're taking time to build these characters. Once you set them into the main roster, it's not like you have to do a soft reset. But I think some people don't know these characters' origins, and it probably would be better off to get some type of information on that.
Which is the Solo Sikoa explains the whole thing going on with him right now. Saving Roman, who is this guy? He's their brother. He's still going to be in NXT and kind of bounce back and forth.
Right. It's odd to see. So he'll be doing NXT main events more than likely. Then hop over.
Again, he's someone who's there but isn't all the way there. It's not in a wrestler or character sense. Like they still want him to be down there.
They're building.
But they also were like, we can't not acknowledge this guy being related to all these guys, especially now that they're in a group. He's like, we gotta finally like lean into this. We're missing out.
What a time.
But
what a time.
Yeah. No, Carmelo Hayes, it's again fine doing this. It's just a way to me express what I've said every time we talked about him on the show in the last year. I mean, again, he doesn't miss. There's a reason he says it. I mean, I wish he did kind of have a better theme in a way. I wish they could license music.
If they were,
you would have a better taste. What do you think he should come out to if you had your druthers?
I mean, shit. Where the fuck? It needs some West Side Gun, something.
Really?
But yeah,
I think he's a little too playboy for West Side Gun.
When I tell you, and it's not every West Side Gun, but every Griselda album has one track where I'm like, if I was a boxer, if I was a pro wrestler, this would be my entrance theme. If it's not a song that's out, it's a song that West guy got it sitting on his phone or something. But I mean, because outside of that, what is his character changes so much?
Whose?
Carmelo, in terms of like look. Like I don't think
it all kind of I think is the modern sense of like.
But like you said, I mean, these are like the All-American.
That's like when you have those like I'm on this vibe today for this specific day. I'm on this vibe.
But what I'm saying, so if you look, the fur and the flag, you can't have the same song playing for both of those. So those are 3 different themes. You feel what I'm saying? Because these are so thematic that at the very least they'd have to remix the song. I don't think you could just play what boom 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 boom. And
that's why I think that's why I'm like West Side Gun I think is a bad pick, and I'm terrible at music, so I couldn't name a better choice.
The thing is, the good picks for Carmelo Hayes as Carmelo Hayes, they're not going to be your favorite type of rap track in a WWE setting, especially if they get the CFOs or whatever to do it. Like it could be.
What's what this song basically isn't that? It's like that. Like, oh, it's passable, but it's like, yeah.
I don't know, man. I feel like somebody else could do a better job and give him something that's a little more
Lord Vader.
Dense. Yeah, something that's a little more soulful, a little more dense, something that could play to. It's got to be a little more playful because he does like to talk shit and I don't know.
Yeah, he's the showboat again. He's doing the again the MVP like balling, and he had that great video where him and MVP were training one day. He's kind of like passing the torch in that aspect because again, great MVP's a great mentor.
Right.
And I always say like we always kind of need recycled gimmicks. Like my generation had MVP, and then the previous generation who would kind of like who was MVP of the '90s? Would you say like who was
Black?
Is that supposed? Was it supposed to be the Rock and early Rock?
No,
Like
no. I'm actually. I don't know. I don't know who would hold that position. Chat, let us know. No, they're not here.
well, I mean, like how the Rock with the Versace shirts. Like you don't think MVP again doing the suits and the Under Armour outfit? You don't think that was kind of like again the 2000s version? Like we moved on from
Kind of, but
the
it's like
shirts to like suits, and
yeah, but he was still like
he was still supposed to be a actual sports
it
star.
was still a sport.
Yeah.
It was still he looked like a guy who would be out there like that's draft day or that's like the combine.
Yeah.
Like he it was
And
so
The Rock again was the guy who again was in the club, and then that's
right.
Carmelo Hayes has kind of brought the two together.
Yeah, I mean Carmelo's probably the closest to like a modern NBA swag. Like
Yeah.
realistically, if you wanted to have Carmelo put on like his most modern MVP, you would need like a tunnel. Because Carmelo, you mentioned the hat.
They're probably saving that for Mania.
You mentioned the varsity jacket. All like if they could do something, whether it's a vignette or just whatever, of him entering the building dripped, because they those motherfuckers, they get off their little private jet, their little bus or whatever, dripped to go to the locker room to change their basketball gear. So you early in the show take the time out to have Carmelo come off whatever vehicle, sprinter van or whatever, chain on, black wrestling tee on, whatever fucking fur coat, just like I'm casually ready to fuck something up. And then before his match, you have him come out in the fucking whatever his wrestling attire is. If you want to do the white chalk, you know what I mean?
He's basically like Odell Beckham. Yeah, he's Odell Beckham.
Exactly.
John Moran.
He needs to match those energies of today to really be, because the sports stars are so like an NBA star and how they interact with the public and with the media is different than like what a Marshawn Lynch or somebody who's more media trained than the NFL does. It's you can get away with different things, and he's going to be able to talk, but to match that,
yeah,
I think the off season, off the clock football player vibe. Although I say that as XFL's coming and.
Well, the many entrance is a thing to like, would like, well, they've done helicopters, but is that again because he's Shawn Michaels? Would he do a modern day zip line?
He needs a helicopter. Realistically, a helicopter is probably cheaper. He probably needs a private jet at least once.
Yeah,
they need to rent a private jet for an hour just so they can film him walking off of the jet and then cutting a promo, like pull a red carpet. Matter of fact, start the promo with him getting up while he's sitting on the private jet. By the time he gets off the jet, walks down the steps, across the red carpet to whatever sprinter van is waiting for him, the camera's following him, he's cutting a promo, and then he kicks the cameraman out the sprinter van at the end of the promo and they drive on. Like, I think you have to show that he's successful enough to be moving the way Offset does, moving the way Patrick Mahomes or whatever, whoever.
Yeah,
he needs to be on they need to show him on that level if you're going to make him serious as a potential champion or whatever the case may be. Like, I think they have to. He's at a great level for NXT, but once you get to the upper regions, I think you have to then elevate what's already worked, because that was a problem with people like Bailey, right? Like they didn't do anything with her. It's like she had the gimmick of being the hugger and the hands in the air and the inflatable. Shouts out to Nope, but when she went to the main roster, that was just it. Like there was no elevation. I think, and I would imagine Carmelo being a guy who seems like he's constantly thinking about how he presents himself as a pro wrestler. He may have those grandiose ideas. They just got to believe in him to.
Which is why, and again, the other comparison too, in terms of who he'll be, is a Sasha Banks type.
Mm-hmm.
Stronger as a heel, but you can play the face. And him being a combination of Seth Rollins and Sasha Banks is probably what it's at with.
Yeah.
The gear, the entrance. Again, even if Seth Rollins has had multiple music shifts.
Multiple gear? He has different gear all the time, yeah.
Yeah. And that's the point of like, again, you can count them in the ring. They'll get the best match out of anyone because that's still what sells people at the end of the day. He still does talking and all that. And he's, I think, a better talker kind of in promos backstage or filmed. And it's not that he can't talk in the ring as well, but like that, again, like those barbershop, like when you can pull that off, it shows what you're capable of.
100%. 100%. Damn.
Come on, BRP, Carmelo Hayes. I know you went on a Black Announce table. We got to get you over here and
Carmelo rocks. What is it? Carmelo's definitely seen. You know,
he loved the list. Yeah,
he's one of those ones who, and he's. I think. What did I say? I think Victor Perry showed.
Victor Perry loves Carmelo Hayes. He'll love this episode. Shout out to Victor Perry and the Wrestling Club.
I think he mentioned that he had showed the Wrestling Club a match, and because he's been doing that, and especially for people they've not seen. And I want to say Carmelo Hayes retweeted it when the video went up on it. But anyway.
And that's it. You know what? In a perfect world, Shelton Benjamin could have been Carmelo Hayes.
You got to talk, though.
He figured it out too late when he was the gold standard. Like,
if he was talking
early, he still wasn't that good of a talker, but like the in-ring. But yeah, he was just generic. I'm a great wrestler guy. He has that vibe of like, again, Shelton Benjamin could do the crazy athletic stuff about having to do like a double moonsault or a 450. And again, I love what Ricochet can do, what Will Ospreay can do. But like when you can like bounce almost all the way across the ring from the springboard, like Shelton Benjamin and Carmelo Hayes can do. But that's the worst case for Carmelo Hayes on the main roster, is that he's Shelton Benjamin. Like, just great match. The character didn't work. But even then, like he's coming up with a character more than Shelton Benjamin ever had, which was Team Angle to then Mr. Intercontinental Champion and then the gold standard. Yeah. But Cal, where can the people find you on social media before we wrap up?
At Khal on Twitter is the best place to find me. If you want to see me talk about random shit. Black Wrestling. At Black Wrestling on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. BlackWrestling.com is the website. Every Thursday, 8:35 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we are live on YouTube, youtube.com/Black Wrestling. Again, IlFam79, Mimi, Drip, Math, and myself talking all types of
five mics.
The 5 mics.
I ain't talking about Big Mike.
Piece of Big Mike. Big Mike was on the court hitting the balls paws to some so in the BRP
pipe down dad hat.
He likes
one I was given because
you're white.
No, that the dad hat I was given, but I swapped.
It's white.
I wanted the Dallas family reunion hat, so I gave him my dad hat in exchange.
He wanted this.
Even when I put it on, I did like the dad hat, but I'm like, I have it right here in front of me. I had wanted this hat instead. But yeah, and you can follow me on Twitter at Davis aka Drip, Instagram Davis DC, every Sunday live on YouTube. Banks versus Davis at the BBD Pod on Twitter. Follow that if you want to see me talk about stuff when I'm not talking about stuff with Khal, whether it's wrestling, movies, sports, TV, music, etc., and all that. I'm a busy man. If I'm not podding, I'm podding.
Yeah, I was going to say Drip stay podding.
Especially right now, I got the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank y'all for paying the 1, the 10 on the Patreon. Supporting shows like Black Watch with IlFam, like Fam mentioned. Downtown Tony Brown. Bulls in the China Shop with Vin and Semp. I know you just did Wrestle Rap with Vin. Shout out to Vin. I'm waiting. Unless Emilio Sparks has me banned, even though he doesn't know I exist. So how can you ban someone you don't know?
If Emilio's still eating baby food, now might be the time, Drip.
No, I gotta be on the pod with him so he can be like, is someone talking? Who is talking?
Gotta crawl before you walk. You may be on the pod before you're actually on the pod with him. But
Black Wrestling Podcast Club is coming back. Coffee and Kicks hopefully soon. Reina Watch Along will be coming soon.
We gotta
figure that out. Mimi and I will be drinking some Steel Reserve while that's going on.
I'm not drinking a Steel Reserve since
you gotta drink. We all gotta drink Steel Reserve for the Reina Watch Along in homage to D'Lo Brown, who was on this week's Something Else with Lovely Laveau. And again, fam, if he's not podding, he's podding. And if he's not podding after that, he's podding again, because the What is Lovely podcast is coming back September 30th.
Oh boy,
YouTube. So International Podcast Day.
There's so much going on.
We're taking over the world, Cal. We're not stopping at 1K in the super chat. We're taking over everything.
I told people it's really day one. But that was the energy. It's kind of, we did it.
It's what you've instilled in all of us. I mean, Fam and Math already were on that. I became that way. Mimi's that way.
It just started. It's not going to stop, so you got to keep moving. Anyway.
Yeah, shout out to everyone. Again, White Noise, episode 13. We'll see y'all next time.
Peace.
Yeah. Follow me on Twitter, Davis, aka Drip. Davis Colton DC on IG. That's where you'll find my other podcasts I'm working on. But most importantly, Stat Guy for BRP, Black Wrestling.
Oh, then we don't get.
Way to be an ally, Drip. I like you.
Imagine being out in public and you just see this little white nigga with the black wrestling with the nigga with the beret on it, and he walking around with the hoodie and the chain. And if you don't want to take his chain,